Hello YouTube, this is Al once again coming to you from Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. If you have any ideas for some videos, please send them on out to me. I definitely appreciate that. I could be reached at connection@Kindred Souls of Brooklyn. That's my email. So shoot me some ideas. I'd love to hear from them. Folks, I'm standing right here on 101st Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway. That's the Verrazano Bridge right behind me. Of course, that's my favorite bridge for those of you who watch my videos. And this is the park. This is actually Fort Hamilton Park where I'm standing right here. And Fort Hamilton is actually right down the block from me. I don't want to take any pictures there because, you know, don't want to take any chances. It's an Army base. It's the only active Army base in the garrison, in the boroughs, and been active since 1838. Now, seen of some controversy of late. A lot of folks would probably be surprised to hear that inside of good old Brooklyn, we have an entire avenue, large, inside the base, named after Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Now, there's been a campaign of late to remove, and a lot of folks have been doing it, a lot of states have been doing it, to remove the statues and depictions and honorariums to Confederate war heroes, or rather Confederate soldiers. But you know, I don't know, I'm kind of a little torn on this subject because I love history, and the problem with a lot of times the removal of such things, and this is really a prime example of this with Robert E. Lee, is that folks don't really know history. They don't take the time to research it. Just a little quick background on Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was an American soldier in the United States Army for his entire career, except for the 4 years that he became the head of the Confederacy, the Armed Forces of the Confederacy. And he was second only to Jefferson Davis, who was the president of the Confederate States. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that before Robert E. Lee took on the post of heading the Confederate Army, the Union Army asked him to head their army up. And the reason for that was that he was a fantastic soldier. He spent his whole entire career in the military. He was a graduate of West Point, graduated second in his class, and he was in the Army, he was 21 years old when he graduated, so basically he was in the Army from 42 years he was in the Army, and only 4 of those he spent in the Confederacy. So, was an amazing guy. He never really stood for slavery. He had a very fantastic quote, which is probably one of the best historical quotes I'd ever heard. And they asked him why he fought for the Confederacy, and he said he was from Virginia. And he said, "It isn't that I love the United States less, it's that I love Virginia more." And that was the reason why he fought for the Confederacy. So a lot of folks would be really surprised that this is a really big avenue inside of this fort. And as of this week, the United States military has said that, the Army anyway, has said that they're not going to rename the avenue. This has been a source of controversy for a long, long time, but it's coming to the forefront now because a lot of the states around the country are removing all these memorials. Now, I don't know, you know, it was the war of the states. These days we have the internet, not to defend, you know, absolutely not to defend slavery. It was absolutely wrong, but the reality is that we didn't have the internet back then. Soldiers went and they fought. They did what they were told, and you know, they weren't politicians. All they thought was they were defending their state, and you know, not to honor them or anything like that, but maybe some of them. But you know, I don't know. In the case of General Lee, he fantastic soldier. I don't know if it would be right to really remove that street. Maybe we could rename it. I don't know. I mean, not that it really matters to him. The guy died in 1870. So I don't think he really cares at this point. But just another amazing video and thing that people would never realize, that we have a huge avenue here in Brooklyn named after Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Who'd imagine, right? But almost anything is possible in Brooklyn. So folks, I'd like to thank you for tuning in. I'd like to thank you for joining me tonight. If you have any comments, please send them over to me. Any opinions, I'd love to hear them. And just going to give you a quick view of this park. It is an amazing park. Right behind me is Shore Parkway and Long Island Sound, which leads into Manhattan. Lots of memorials here. They've got a cannon over here right behind me from the War of 1812 to show you how close that was to the shoreline there and to the sea. Amazing place to come to walk your dog or just to hang out. Lots of amazing restaurants in the area. This is Bay Ridge. Really amazing. Easily accessible off the Belt Parkway. So I highly recommend you guys come out here. Just another little tidbit, if anybody who loves Saturday Night Fever, they did some filming of Saturday Night Fever down there. It was the early parts of it, and basically the part when they're in the little schoolyard thing. So folks, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. Everyone have a most magical night. Thank you.